You don't suffer because of reality. You suffer because of the story you tell yourself about reality. Pause for a moment. Look at your thoughts, not as truth, but as narration. A quiet voice, always speaking, always interpreting, and sometimes lying. There are people around you right now, walking normally, smiling politely, speaking casually, but inside they are collapsing. Not because something terrible happened, but because something felt terrible, and that feeling became a story, and that story became their reality. You felt this too, a small doubt that grows into a question, that turns into fear, that slowly becomes identity. You start asking, why am I feeling this? What does this say about me? Am I becoming someone I don't understand? And just like that, your mind becomes a courtroom. You are the accused, you are the judge, you are the witness, and no one else is there to defend you. This is where confusion begins, not in the world, but in interpretation. Gender, desire, identity. These are not just biological facts, they are meanings, and meanings are constructed. You were not born confused, you were born neutral. But slowly, you learned language, you learned labels, you learned what is normal and what is different. And one day, you felt something unfamiliar, not dangerous, not harmful, just unfamiliar. But your mind didn't treat it as neutral, it treated it as a problem, because you were taught that unfamiliar means wrong. And now, you are not dealing with the feeling itself, you are dealing with what it means. Two people can feel the same thing. One shrugs and moves on, the other spirals into anxiety. Same sensation, different interpretation. This is the silent architecture of suffering. It's not what happens, but what it means to you. A thought appears. Why did I feel that? And instead of letting it pass, you hold it, you examine it, you fear it, you give it weight. And suddenly, a moment becomes a question becomes doubt, a doubt becomes identity. This is how the mind distorts reality, not by creating something false, but by exaggerating something small, like a magnifying glass over a harmless detail. You are not seeing clearly anymore, you are seeing intensely, and intensity is not truth. In today's world, you are surrounded by information, labels, definitions, communities, debates, and every label offers certainty. If you feel this, you are this. It sounds simple, but your mind is not simple. It is layered, it is fluid, it is influenced. And when you try to fit yourself into rigid definitions, you don't find clarity, you find pressure. Look around. People are comparing silently. Why am I not like others? Why do I feel different? Why can't I be normal? But here's the truth no one says out loud. Everyone feels different. Everyone is confused in some way, but they don't talk about it. So you assume you are the only one. And that assumption isolates you. Silence creates illusion. You think your pain is unique. You think your thoughts are abnormal, but they are not. They are human. They are part of a mind trying to understand itself. In the pages of Stones and Thorns, there is a recurring idea. The mind is not a mirror. It is a storyteller, and every story needs meaning, even if it has to invent it, especially when it has to invent it. Let's go deeper. There is something more unsettling than confusion, uncertainty. You don't just want answers, you want certainty. You want to know exactly who you are, exactly what you feel, exactly what it means. But life doesn't work like that. Identity is not a fixed object, it is a process, and processes are unstable. So you try to control it. You analyze every thought, you question every reaction, you monitor every feeling. But control creates tension, and tension creates more confusion. It's a loop. The more you try to understand, the less clear it becomes. Now ask yourself, what if the problem is not the feeling, but the urgency to define it? What if you didn't rush? What if you didn't label? What if you allowed ambiguity to exist? Because not everything needs immediate meaning. Some experiences are just experiences, not identities, not conclusions, just moments. In another reflection from Raghav in Stones and Thorns, there is a line that lingers. You are not your first interpretation. Think about that. The first meaning your mind gives is not always accurate. It is influenced by fear, by culture, by expectation. Gender identity, sexual orientation, these are real, but your understanding of them can be distorted, especially when driven by anxiety, especially when driven by fear of being wrong. There is also something deeper at play: power, control, belonging. Every human being wants to belong, to feel accepted, to feel understood. And when you don't feel that, you start searching. Sometimes in labels, sometimes in identities, sometimes in explanations. Not because they are true, but because they feel stabilizing. But stability built on fear is fragile, very fragile. Let's shift the question. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What does this mean to me?" And then, "Why am I giving it that meaning?" This is where awareness begins, not in answers, but in questioning your interpretation. Mental distress is not always a sign of something wrong. Sometimes it is a signal that your mind is overwhelmed, a signal that your interpretation is too heavy, a signal that you are trying to control what cannot be controlled. Because here's the truth: you cannot control every thought. You cannot control every feeling. You cannot control every reaction. But you can observe them without immediately believing them. This is the turning point. When you stop fighting your mind and start understanding it. When you stop labeling every experience and start allowing it. When you stop asking for certainty and start tolerating ambiguity. You don't need to solve yourself. You need to see yourself clearly. And clarity is not loud. It is quiet. It is slow. It is patient. You are not a fixed identity. You are not a single definition. You are a moving, evolving, thinking system. And sometimes that system becomes confused. That's not failure. That's complexity. In Stones and Thorns, there's another subtle reflection from Raghav. The mind suffers more from meaning than from reality. Let that sit with you. So the next time you feel confused, don't rush to define it. Don't rush to fear it. Don't rush to become it. Just notice it. Let it exist, without turning it into a conclusion. Because not every thought is a truth. Not every feeling is a direction. Not every confusion is an identity. And maybe, just maybe, you are not lost. You are just interpreting too quickly. So I leave you with this question. If your mind is telling a story, who taught it to tell it that way? And more importantly, do you have to keep believing it? If this made you pause, if this made you think, if this made you question your own mind, then stay here, reflect, and tell me in the comments, what is one thought you believed that changed everything? Like, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Because sometimes, understanding begins when the noise finally stops.